Good evening, everyone, and welcome to What's the Buzz. Tonight, a very special program. If you have young kids around, you might want to escort them to the next room. This is going to be a little adult in nature, so hold on, Pete. I'll get to you in a minute.
Yeah, I
We
don't
got
know.
Pete
I don't know if
Wilcox
I'm
on the
included
show.
in it.
You lose all control when Pete Wilcox is here. I've already lost control of the show.
I'm not adult entertainment. I don't qualify here, but I'll jump in.
Well,
I
here's
got my
first
Hawaiian
of all.
shirt on. I got my Hawaiian shirt on, so anything could happen.
Well,
Well, let me tell you.
hold on there, Peter. Let me tell everybody what's going on tonight. The subject matter is a controversial one. But before we talk to Pete and discuss our subject of the night, and we introduce you to Amelia Pitbull Chapman. She's my co-host. Hello, Amelia. Each and every week you join me here, and each and every week we have to put up with Pete.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Pete.
On that note, it's been so nice talking to you. And
Absolutely.
right, you want the truth? You couldn't handle the truth. All right.
There you go. All right. Now, tonight we have a rather controversial subject matter. We're going to talk about the sordid life of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, or Epstein, however you want to pronounce it. Jeff Epstein was a multi-billionaire, one of the power brokers, the power elite. He dined with kings, queens, presidents, and those who had money, the movers and the shakers, and provided for those movers and shakers certain gratuities that only he could provide in the way of female companionship. So he was a pimp of sorts. By all accounts, he was a scumbag, a dirtbag, a flea bag, and any other variation of bag that you wish to incarnate. A hose bag, for example. Right. Now, this will be adult in nature, and that's why I wanted Pete Wilcox here, because he's probably the most adult person in the room tonight.
That's scary.
Save for his Hawaiian shirt. Peter, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
It's an adult Hawaiian shirt.
It is. Pete Wilcox, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is a gentleman who made his living on television and film all around the country, around the world, and filled concert venues as well as Elvis. He is known affectionately as America's TV Elvis. And you may have seen him on Alf and Murphy Brown and any number of shows like ER, and he's been around forever and ever. Sandy Duncan show. Yeah. Pete, what do you know about Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, he invited me to a couple of parties. I wanted very much to go. I was busy at the time, and as it turns out, it kept me out of jail. To tell you the truth, what I know about Mr. Epstein is really limited. I know probably what the general public knows, in that I saw a Dateline show about him, and it was all about a young high school girl. There were a couple of girls that were under the age of consent, if you will, and they had been approached by Jeffrey. I guess the operation that he ran by was just to make contact. Hello, be charming. He obviously, you don't deal with those people unless you have the charm of the devil. Yeah. And he got them into his house, and maybe have party, maybe give them wine, maybe they have a nice meal. He sends them home in a limo. He's building a case, as it were. And then all of a sudden, it seems as though these young ladies found themselves in an extremely compromising situations, and his position was probably, what do you mean? Oh, everything's fine. Sweetie, don't worry about it. I got you covered.
Yeah.
And then, but you're knee deep in quicksand.
Very interesting that you use
Yeah.
that analogy. That analogy would actually turn around to bite him on the ass and invariably take him down. Um,
Yes.
you'll see up on the screen I have Jeffrey Epstein, pedophile, villain, or victim. How one man changed the game of big money politics and paid the ultimate price for betrayal. And I really believe he paid the price for betrayal. First of all, the fact that he talked to anyone is a surprise to everyone, um, including probably the people watching the show. You may or may not be aware that Jeffrey Epstein spoke to the grand jury not once, but 4 times and gave depositions 4 times. It's also interesting to note that Jeff Epstein was an unrepentant, unapologetic son of a bitch who continued to pimp young girls as young as 12 years old to men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. We can't make any of this up. We
No.
are, I assure you,
No.
we are making none of this up. This is all legitimate.
Hmm.
Understand something. We can all have an opinion, but that opinion is based on public knowledge given to us. There is so much more that we do not know, but had to find out or have to find out by alternate news channels and alternate news sources. You're not going to have, as I assure you, ABC, NBC, and CBS are not going to come clean with what really happened with Jeff Epstein. But some of your alternative news sources may, or they may offer you an alternative version of what has happened. For example, InfoWars and Prison Planet and anything by Alex Jones or Jeff Rensky. Point I'm trying to make is we can have an opinion. And that's all we are offering tonight. And I want everyone to notice that the scrambler at the bottom of our screen tonight says just that. So understand, we're going to offer opinion and conjecture and speculation. That's what we will do.
Exactly.
So, Amelia, you and I spoke previously about this subject matter.
Yes, we did.
Let's talk about what, to your knowledge, what do you know of Jeff Epstein, and are you prepared to offer an opinion on the case in chief?
Yes. I know that he would lure girls that were on the street that would hardly have anything to eat. And that's how he would find them. And then girls that he already had with him would go to the girls and say, "Come on, I have a better place for you to stay, a warm bed, lots of food. All you have to do is just come with me. I promise everything will be fine." And that's how he get other girls to lure them in and give them money for that. But they'd have to be on the street with nobody with
kind of
them.
exactly what Pete was talking about.
Hmm.
You know, it's called setting up
Hmm.
a framework.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
And just drive them home in a limo,
Yes.
give them a fancy dinner, not a
Hmm.
glass of wine, a
No.
bottle of wine,
Mm-mm.
all the trappings.
Yes.
That's what he did for himself.
Hmm.
But it gets interesting.
Yes.
For his big money clients,
Yes.
he had his girlfriend help him.
Absolutely.
She
Absolutely.
was the liaison. We're going to find out
Hmm.
about her tonight.
Oh,
Let's take
absolutely.
a look. We're going to start off, Pete. This is Amelia's favorite part of the show. It's called Show
Already,
and Tell.
yay.
And I want you to take a look at this. We're going to watch this and
Hmm.
please offer an opinion anywhere along the way. You all know by now what he looks like. There's Jeff Epstein. That's the island. You got to have some money to buy your own island. The lady in question is right there. Her name is Ghislaine Maxwell. Right now, she's serving a life sentence
Mm-hmm. For being his accomplice.
for soliciting minors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Pete, what do
He
you know
looked like
about this?
Burt Bacharach, doesn't he?
He does, and he sure
Mm-hmm.
does. He looks a
Yeah,
lot
he
like Burt
does.
Bacharach. He
Right.
sure does, Pete. I was waiting for Pete to point that out because Jeff Epstein is almost a dead ringer for Burt Bacharach.
Mm-hmm.
You see the culprit. There he is, the young lady in the striped shirt.
Mm-hmm.
She's 16 years old. The young girl behind in the blue shirt, she's 14 years old. This picture was taken, and you'll see he's smiling, so he knows his picture's being taken. All right? He knows he's being photographed. What he's saying with that smile is, look what money can buy me. Here's the problem. It bought him a death sentence is what it would have bought him.
Mm-hmm.
Take it, and
Yeah.
then that's the perfect segue. I want you to look at this picture. Amelia, what do you notice about this photo?
Okay, let's see. I noticed his girlfriend's picture on the right hand side. She's in the audience.
You
And
see
then-
the picture
Mhm.
blown up in the circle on the bottom?
Yes.
She is to the right of the screen, about
Mhm.
5 heads down.
Okay. Yeah, she's in the
That's-
audience.
Chelsea Clinton, and that's her father,
Uh-huh.
former U.S. President Bill Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
who was one evil son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
That man is pure incarnate evil. That's what the devil looks like, folks, right there.
Mm, mm, mm.
And this is the devil's triangle. That's Jeff Epstein, Bill Clinton, and Prince Andrew. These were 3 of the most powerful men on planet Earth. Only 2 remain. We think. Jeff
Right.
Epstein may or may not be dead. We don't know. We
That's
think he was
speculation.
murdered, but we know he
Mhm.
didn't kill himself. That's
Right.
for damn sure. So, and if you can tell me that man hung himself, you'll notice the one recurring Bill Clinton. And by the way, that girl is 16 years old. That was taken on his island. There's Prince Andrew, again taken on the island.
I thought that was Central Park
Yeah, Bill's. Would say
Well,
again?
what? Yeah.
because they said that there was a lot of pictures with him taken at Central Park as well.
Yeah, well, you're going to see some.
Okay.
This is the 16-year-old girl giving Bill Clinton a massage.
Oh my goodness.
How inappropriate for a former U.S. president.
And he allowed that picture to be taken. Maybe that we
Because
know
he
of.
never thought it would leave the island. Now,
Mm.
you're looking at a photograph from ABC News. This is Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly a death photo.
How convenient that an ambulance is there, huh?
Yeah, how convenient.
Mm-hmm.
It's also interesting to note that if you didn't see that photo with all the bed sheets,
Mm-hmm.
keep that picture in mind. In fact, I want to show you one more time. That picture, keep that blazoned in your memory, because we're going to go back to it for a minute. That's going to come back to bite somebody. Please notice where Mr. Epstein's hand is. Couldn't have been in a more appropriate place.
In his pocket, right?
Yeah, in his pocket, absolutely, Pete. Okay. The other thing you're looking at here, now you're looking at another view of the death photo, alleged death photo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To me, he doesn't look dead in that photo. He looks like he's being transported to another place. That's what he looks like. There's Bill
Exactly.
Clinton. Interesting. You see these people? The girl in the back, there she is, Ghislaine Maxwell. There's Jeffrey Epstein. There's Bill Clinton as president. Bill Clinton. He was president at the time. This photo was taken in the Oval Office. Same president, Bill Clinton on the right, being massaged by a young, very young girl. Again, quite inappropriate for a former U.S. president. This is Epstein's mansion. The mansion is as controversial as Jeffrey Epstein because it was hardwired in every nook and cranny with television cameras, and there are monitors built into the walls in virtually every room. Okay? So you know that when you walk into this place, if you've never been in there before, you know that you are being monitored. Because as you're walking past, you're seeing yourself on a TV screen in any given wall that you may walk past. So you know you're on camera. And I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not Alan Funt, and this is not Candid Camera. This was Jeffrey Epstein's playhouse. Speaking of playhouse, there's a gentleman here named Bill Gates. The same Bill Gates who predicted, quote unquote, predicted coronavirus. Okay? Keep in mind, he's neither a psychic, nor a medical person, nor a virologist. Okay? But he predicted coronavirus. Interesting. He was also a client, a paying client of Jeffrey Epstein. Look at the face of Epstein. Take a look. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, look at that man's face. Look at both of them. Take a good look. Take a very, very good look at that.
Wow. It's like I got me another one. Look.
Yeah, exactly, Amelia. Exactly. I got me another one. Now, let me tell you what's going on in this photo. This is comedian Chris Tucker. He's an actor and comedian. You see him with President Bill Clinton again. Imagine that. Bill Clinton keeps popping up on all of these pictures. Okay? We know Bill could never keep his pecker in his pants. Just ask Monica Lewinsky about that one. Okay? Chris Tucker is called a buffer for those people who never. Stephen Plim's in the room. Does anyone need? Yeah, exactly. Stephen Plim says, "Does anyone need a PhD to figure this one out?" No, you don't. Okay, Chris Tucker is called a buffer. He's the go-between between the party supplying the services and the person receiving the services. You're going to see several people like that tonight. Chris Tucker's one. All right. Now, Bill Clinton has denied ever meeting Ghislaine Maxwell and denied ever being on Jeffrey Epstein's private island or having been with an underage female. Here's proof of all three of the above. There he is with an underage female, with Ghislaine Maxwell, on Jeffrey Epstein's private airplane, and that's the same girl on the right-hand side. Now, let's go on to the next one. Again, a better photo of Bill Clinton. And by the way, he knew he was being photographed. But again, he never Jeffrey with an underage girl. But Clinton never thought those photos would leave that island. So he posed and he smiled, and you're going to see some photos of Bill Clinton you've never seen before.
Well, I got a feeling those were also blackmail pictures to have, you know.
Absolutely, Peter. Yep.
Yeah, let's
This
keep
picture
everything
was
in line here.
taken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These pictures were taken, I think, as an insurance policy.
Yeah. That's what I'm
All
thinking
of
too.
these, the girl with the blue shirt here and the hat, she's the only female in that picture over 18 years of age. The only one. And that's why her picture is not blacked out or digitized over. She's
Right,
the only
scrambled.
one in that. Yeah, Pete, she's the only one in that photo of legal age. And there's the same girl. The girl behind Epstein is the same girl with the hat on. And her name is Courtney, and I will not reveal her last name. You're looking at Epstein's private island and his many mansions. And there are several mansions on that island. And he owned the US government owns it now, by the way. And by the way, just so you know, the activity on that island hasn't changed. They're still using it for girls.
Mm.
Only now the
Oh,
government has control of it. Okay? Because that's the kind of business our government's in. Of course, Jeffrey Epstein provoked a lot of reaction and dissent among women, but he also garnered quite a few fans. You're looking at a couple of Hollywood A-list actresses in this picture. You're also, again, looking at a picture of Bill Clinton and Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell taken again in the Oval Office of the White House. So, anybody that tells you that dirty business is not done in the White House has never been to the fucking White House.
Or read a newspaper.
Or read a newspaper, yeah. I want you to take a look at this picture. You'll see on the far right, gentleman wearing a red shirt. It's the same gentleman wearing the red shirt in the middle. That photo was taken the same day, about an hour apart. Don't ask me how I know. I can't tell you. But I will tell you that there is a hand around Bill Clinton's shoulder. And it's not his wife's hand. Okay? In fact, the young lady that's standing over President Clinton is a young African American woman doing a line of blow. She's doing coke right above his head on a little ashtray about this big. How do I know that? I can't tell you that. We talked about Epstein providing the power elite. Only one man has denied ever, and there's proof of this, has denied activity involving Jeffrey Epstein. And that man is right there, Donald Trump. Again, a former U.S. president. And to his credit, he's got a paper trail to back him up. Can't say that for a lot of people. There's Bill Clinton again with a cigar in his mouth on Epstein's island. That picture that you're looking at, that has not been doctored, that has not been retouched, it's not been photoshopped. That is an actual, real picture of Bill Clinton wearing a blue dress. You heard me right. And it's available for everyone to see, including the National Archives in Washington, D.C.
Is this the picture where he starts to sing Hey Big Spender?
No, but he may as well.
right.
Yep, that's Bill Clinton.
Actually, he looks good in the blue dress, I gotta say. You know, I'm just saying.
This is an interesting photo because you're looking at the president of Harvard University You're looking at Jeffrey Epstein. You're looking at his attorney, Alan Dershowitz, a high-profile celebrity lawyer, and the person you can't see in that photo is the alumni president with the bushy hair and blue shirt and pin tie. Again, I encourage you to look at these photos again. Again, there's Mr. Epstein on his island, his private island. Pete, you know who this fella is. He's no stranger to guys our age. Behind Mr. Epstein is Woody Allen,
Yeah, I
actor,
think that's who that
director,
was.
filmmaker, with his wife Soon Yi, his young wife Soon Yi.
Right.
Very dear friend of Jeffrey Epstein at the time. I don't know. Again, here's that same photo of Bill Clinton at Epstein's island. Again, there is Chris Tucker, a bad picture of him, but there's Chris Tucker. Again, he's the buffer. Now, we're back. Let's talk about what we just watched. And all of these photos, they are all public domain. You don't need a license to find them. All you need is a Google.
My goodness.
They're out there. Peter, what do you think of what you just witnessed?
Well, what keeps coming to my mind, and I also want to say to our wonderful friends and Amelia that is present with us, Angelo and I, I'll say we have kind of an ongoing project of delving into the spirit of man. And what this guy does is bring to mind the evil that is upon us in this lifetime.
Absolutely.
He's a pawn of that evil, and sadly, it's more effective than we can imagine.
It's scary, Pete.
It is scary, and I'm going to say, perhaps Paul talks about it in one of the epistles, perhaps the deadliest sin at our access is sexuality, the abusing of sexuality. I was talking about it with my wife the other day, and it's kind of, I could be wrong on this. Eating comes close, but 90, a great deal of what you want to achieve reward-wise is psychological.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You brought that up.
Sex is one of the few that is both psychological and physical.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Making
I want to explore that. Pete, I want to explore that.
It makes it one of the most tempting tools that evil has to prey upon us. This man lived in that sin. And
that's what we're going to explore. And I want to explore that because that was Epstein's forte. Using the power of sex as an aphrodisiac for his pleasure, but using the power of his finance for not only for profit, but for favorable gain with those power brokers you saw. People like the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergers, the Clintons, the DuPonts, the Gateses. Okay, I mean, you're talking about money, power, and sex. They are aphrodisiacs to people.
Yes.
You know? They permeate the spirit.
The most dangerous, excuse me, the most dangerous and most perverse is sex because it not only destroys the individual involved, it can and usually destroys the victim of it as well.
Isn't it interesting, Pete?
It destroys everything it touches.
Well, Pete, isn't it interesting that sex, as loving as sex can be, as passionate as sexual activity can be, sex creates life between two people to create a third. Okay? So it's a life giving mechanism, but it can also destroy the soul. It
Absolutely.
can bring life, but destroy you. Uh, Again, the
The
physical,
perversion of it. The
yeah,
perversion of it.
well,
Mm-hmm.
the physical and the spiritual is what we're
Yes.
getting at. Understand that, but we're not going to get off on a biblical tangent tonight. I won't allow it. Only for these purposes, I'm letting it go to
Well, when
explain.
you said to me, "What does this conjure up?"
Right.
Bang, there it goes.
Yeah,
It's
I appreciate that and I respect that. But I don't want us to get off on a tangent on
it's not going to turn into
the
a Bible
whole.
study, but
Yeah,
you
but
know,
but
it's
but I don't
almost
want to.
like
Pete, I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Hold on, please. I want people to understand we're exploring Epstein here
Mm-hmm.
and his mindset, and you absolutely nailed it on the head. That's his mindset, using that seductive power of sex
right.
and money to lure naive young girls. Amelia, your
Yes.
take on all of this? What do
Yeah.
you think about what Pete's got a point here?
Yeah. And I think being a girl in that kind of sense, I just would, you know, to me, I, if I was like in that position where, yeah, I was on the streets or didn't have any money, yeah, that would be something like, oh, yeah, I would have a warm bed tonight. I would have food. Yes, I would take. But then what I'd have to do for that later on, I'd be wanting to get out of there as soon as possible. I wouldn't want to do that just for that
Yeah,
kind of money or food. I would want to run away as soon as possible if I knew that that was
yeah.
for what, a free
I
meal
mean,
or
look at
bed.
you talk about a guy that's got power and
Hmm.
he owns his own island for crying
Right.
out loud. He owned 4 airplanes.
Hmm.
He owned apartments in 5 states and another home in California.
Yes.
And he was among the power elite. Well, you look at
And
his girlfriend is there at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. You
yeah,
know why she was there. Come on.
exactly. To find more girls for
part of
him.
this
Go ahead, Pete.
part of this is the high rollers are under such intense scrutiny constantly
Yep.
that they want to participate in the pleasures of life, but they can't be seen doing it. And they can
Yeah.
get busted walking out their front door. That's what this man is providing that group of people. I'll take care of all of that
Absolutely.
for you. No problem. Don't worry, I got it.
Mhm.
And really, are you sure? All of a sudden, now the price tag that comes with it doesn't bother them. I mean, what is $100 for you
Exactly.
and I is
Mhm.
10 million for Bill Gates. He doesn't miss
Yeah.
10 million. So he'll play the game. I'm not saying Bill played the game. I wouldn't say that about anyone. That's between them and and the pictures, and everybody can make their assumption. But what we don't have to assume, what we know, is that those people willingly participated because they didn't get their hands dirty. That was Epstein's gig. You make me
Well,
rich, I'll
here's
get the
the thing.
girls.
Pete, you said a couple of things there that were incredibly poignant and a couple that were very critical. And I don't want them to get lost. You're talking about people who will use the money, influence to gain what they want, to solicit whatever response they want. But remember, you're talking about people with no moral compass. What we were talking about earlier, and to your credit, you did bring up the moral aspect, and I applaud you for that. But I don't want to get lost in that, because what I really want to do is I want to point out the corruption and the
Mhm.
immorality and the inhumanity of a guy like Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew and Bill Gates and all these, the DuPonts and the Bilderbergs and the people who have the Rothschilds who have this kind of money. They'll think nothing of it. Humanity is disposable to them. Do you understand that? That's why, Pete, think about it. That's why Epstein got girls off the street, because nobody would miss them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes me think of a line. You remember the wonderful movie The Godfather?
Yeah.
And I think it's Godfather. Matter of fact, I think it's Godfather 3. There's a senator that he gets drunk
Yeah.
and he's with a girl. And he tells the senator when he comes to that the girl's dead, that he killed her, but don't worry, she doesn't matter. Nobody knows who she were. She'll disappear. You are now in debt to this mafiosa who provided the plaything. She might not even be dead, but he scared the hell out of the senator.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And
Yes.
thank you for bringing that up. That's critical. And it's critical. And I wanted you, and I'm glad that you brought it up. I wanted you to, and I'm glad that I elicited that from you. That's being a good host. See, that a million you learn.
Yes.
Well, first of all,
did that for Maryland. So stop it. It wasn't you.
First of all, it's no secret. Pete and I play very well off each other.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that what Pete said is absolutely right.
He had tapes with names and everything, dates, and
who's going to miss her? She's a runaway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they made a mistake because the girls, they had families. The girls had boyfriends. The girls some of them had husbands. Guess what? They didn't all be quiet,
Oh my God.
And missing posters everywhere.
They didn't all be quiet. They had, some of them spoke and spoke loudly.
Yes.
Something happened recently. I've been following this pretty closely. A couple of the girls involved in this case have disappeared. Interesting. Why did they disappear? Here's my thought and my theory. They were getting ready to testify. At least two of them were getting ready to test. The fact that Epstein may or may not be dead or in hiding or in witness protection, I don't think he's dead. I personally don't think he's dead. I think he's still on his island. I think he's working for the U.S. government now. I think he brokered the deal of the fucking century.
I think so too. I believe that.
Jeffrey Epstein had more worth alive to the government than he ever did dead.
Oh, he had names, dates, pictures, film footage, everything. Bring down everybody.
Exactly. Tell everybody what we're talking about. Good.
The Epstein. Oh yeah, he had the cameras in every single room, even the bathroom, kitchen. He would get every little bit detail. Everywhere. And as soon as the tape ended, he would write down the name, dates, places, who it was with, and where, and he would have it hidden. And he had a room where everything was at. So he would put back blackmail, and every single tape.
This guy, man, I'm going to tell you what. He kept some meticulous notes. And there were thousands, I mean thousands of
detail
hours.
By detail.
Yeah, thousands of hours of film and tape, and that's just from his end. That doesn't count all the surveillance shit
nothing
that the government had going on. Remember something. You have to remember something. Okay, I want you to think about this. In fact, I just read something 2 days ago. Pertains, and Pete, you'll find this interesting. It pertains to every single living president of the United States. They are not allowed to drive. They are not allowed to fly. by themselves. They're not allowed. They are not permitted to be anywhere in public alone. Okay. They are not allowed by law to leave the country unless granted permission to do so. Think about what I just said. Okay? We know that Bill Clinton at least 4 occasions went to Epstein's island. Now, question is it an American territory where his island is? If so, that's fine. But is it beyond the scope of the U.S. border? If that's the case, problematic. Again, Bill Clinton, being a former U.S. president, can't go anywhere alone, and he's not allowed to fly or drive by himself. He has to, by law, has to have a U.S. Secret Service agent with him at all times, even to the point of going into a restroom with him. Do you understand that? Somebody talked. Somebody took the pictures. Somebody got fired. I assure you.
Somebody made a lot of money.
Somebody made a lot of motherfucking money. Yeah,
Yes, they
a
did.
lot. And somebody got killed over this shit.
Yep.
Okay? And probably a couple of people. The body count isn't done yet. They're still adding it up.
And they're still not going to be done for a while.
Here's the thing. And again, everything that I'm saying is public knowledge.
Yes.
I'm telling you from the.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know? Do I do my research? Hello.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too, right here.
Go on the internet. Print it up. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
All you need is the internet and a printer.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
It's all out there. It's all out there. Pete, let's talk about the moral compass here. Let's circle back. Let's circle back to the humanity element, to the human spirit nature of all of this. Are people, and I'm going to ask you this question point blank. I've never asked you this question before. In your opinion, Peter Wilcox, are people innately evil?
No, they're led there. They are led there. They have certain. It seems as though we have certain animal instincts for survival, but I believe that their attitude is led into a negative position.
Right.
We're talking about a spiritual realm here, but there you have it. And I don't think we don't seem to be morally responsible at a young age because you're not in command of your senses or your decision making or your ability to be on the money. But I don't think. I think you are basically. I think you're basically pretty survivalistic. I wouldn't call it good or bad. I think we are led. I mean, everything that you're coming along, is based within the family, within the mother, within the father, the guidance of the child. For those that are blessed that have that.
That's the point, Pete. That's the point right there.
But you're in a decent place. You're led astray.
And I think that is precisely why Epstein chose the type of women that he chose.
There was no resistance. He was right.
Exactly.
As Amanda pointed out, I'm getting you off the street. I'm helping you. I'm going to build a confidence in our relationship.
Exactly.
And I'm going to provide you with more goodies. And certainly, what I'm asking for is so normal. You should have a problem with this. And at first they
Yeah.
feel he's been so good to me. How can I say no?
Yeah.
This does seem like it's okay. And then we
Yeah.
get back to the real obvious trap of, well, I'm not hurting anybody, and neither are they. And
Oh,
yes,
there you
you
go.
are, but you're
You
not
Hmm.
know
aware.
what? That's a great segue. Amelia, take that
Yes.
one.
Yeah, because it's like, he's not hurting anyone, but at the same time he's blackmailing the people at the same time to have,
Which means he's hurting everyone.
he's hurting every single person.
Everyone.
Exactly. He's hurting the girls that he's using, and he's hurting the men that he's using them with. And then of course once they turn 17, he's like, okay, I'm done with you, go on, and he'll replace the girls every single
Exactly.
time.
Every
And then
time.
every single time.
And we've seen it time and
And
time
time
again.
again. And then that's when they start talking, and that's what started getting them into trouble, because they're going to go to their
Incredible.
families. Yeah. And who knows how many of those girls got pregnant? Who knows how many of those girls he had to get abortions for, and what,
Oh my
affected their
God, bless your
lives.
heart.
So,
Yeah.
That's very
hmm
on the money. Abortions, and also that behavior
hmm
destroys the soul. When they go
exactly, it
home and they
does.
realize what they've done, even if
Hmm.
they don't come back and they never seen
Yeah.
Epstein again, the
Hmm.
Right.
damage is done. They may
It
never
is.
repair. They may never
No,
be the same again.
Exactly,
no
Pete.
much how much money they get, no matter how much money they get from a
Yeah.
lawsuit.
Oh yeah, that's
Well, I think the takeaway for this is very simple.
Hmm.
It's not the first time we've seen a person like Jeffrey Epstein. The names change, but sadly, the situations remain the same or
Hmm.
very similar. In a lot of
Yes.
cases, very similar. People with power, prestige, money, influence, coming across initially like the Good Samaritan, but then the sheep in the wolf's clothing. I mean
Absolutely.
the wolf in sheep's clothing. You
Exactly.
know, it's like the old what was that old nursery rhyme? Um, with the big bad wolf and the grandma's house. Remember?
yeah.
Yes.
Red
You
Riding Hood.
know? Yeah, Red Riding Hood. Oh, grandma, what big nose you have? What big teeth you have?
Hmm.
Well, Jeffrey Epstein was he was the wolf in sheep's clothing, coming across like the benevolent soul, as we would say.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, in one fell swoop, he devoured you. And if he didn't, then his paying clientele would.
Yeah.
They say a stiff dick has no conscience. Okay? Think about what that really means. Think about what that really means. It's profound. It is profound. The question: did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or was he killed to keep his silence? Amelia,
I think he
say what
was.
to that?
I think he was paid to kill, to keep his silence, because how convenient that night of all nights the cameras stopped working, and
The camera stopped working, Amelia,
hmm
and
yes,
the two guards, federal marshals, by the
hmm
way, the two
yes,
federal marshals just happened to
and
leave to
happened
go,
to leave.
just happened
Yes,
to leave to go
happened
on
to
a break, to
leave. At
go
the
on a
same
break.
time for some reason,
By the way, I
and
love using the air quotes.
yes, they're
Because
not
I
supposed
can't
to be
play the
leaving
air
at the same
guitar,
time.
so I play air quotes.
Right? And they weren't supposed to leave at that time
Yeah.
together. Was one was supposed to be watching, and the other one was supposed to be standing, going to break. They were supposed to take turns, but somehow I guess they thought, okay, well, let's leave together for some reason.
Yeah.
And he was on suicide watch the week before,
Oh yeah,
and
please.
his cellmate happened to be an ex-cop. For get that?
It's interesting. Do you
Yes,
guys know who John McAfee is?
I've heard the name, but I don't know exactly who he
John
is.
McAfee invented McAfee antivirus. It's
Hmm.
on virtually every computer in the world right now.
Hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
John McAfee is dead now. Okay. But he was smart enough to do something. He had a tattoo
Mm-hmm.
on his arm that said, if they find me dead hanging in my jail cell, understand and know that it was not a suicide.
Wow.
He knew. And guess what he died from? Would you take a guess, Amelia?
Don't tell me hanging.
Like, hello,
Oh my
found
God.
hanging in his cell.
Wow.
Funny, I was going to say from tattoo poisoning. It showed I was
Mm.
way off on that.
Yeah, and you're gonna. I'll show you in a second. I want to show you in a second who John McAfee is.
And then also too
Um,
is like I didn't think you were allowed that many sheets in a jail cell as well. So that's why when you brought that picture up, I was like, why is there that many sheets in a jail cell? They're only allowed what, one or two per cellmate? That's
yeah,
way too many per cell, which I thought that was weird. And then Mayor Giuliani at the time, also a prosecutor, said that there could be either he was merely murdered for organized effort, or inmates, maybe prison justice, or could have been he committed suicide, or the inmates did that. Or
yeah,
fourth scenario, he could still be alive because how convenient that there was an ambulance close by with a hospital that close by.
yeah,
And they were there to take him somewhere to maybe to a, because he was going to help the government pretend to fake his death.
yeah. There are
And
people, and thank you for going there, Amelia, because there are people who swear and be damned that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive, that he's working in tandem with the U.S. government. The island, interestingly enough, is still in his name.
that's interesting
Interesting, isn't it?
because wouldn't they
The
sell it to?
overseer of the island
Mhm.
is his brother David Epstein.
Really?
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought the government would sell it if there was
Well, you
no
would think so.
right
You would think so if they truly
to
had a vested interest in it.
or to pay off
I
the
think they have
victims
more of an interest in keeping Jeffrey Epstein alive than dead.
or to pay off
He's
the
worth
victims, right? For the
well.
lawsuit.
He's a lot more valuable to them alive than dead, for sure.
Hmm.
You know, um, it's
That is so weird.
interesting. I think the final word is going to be: don't always believe what you read. Do some investigating. Um, if it sounds too suspicious or too coincidental, too convenient,
Hmm.
probably is. You know,
Or you know what else could be?
people will also ask the question for years to come: what really happened to Jeffrey Epstein? Well,
Hmm.
in some ways we know everything, and in some ways we'll
Hmm.
never know everything at all.
Right? Or those that are still involved, the powerful people that he had all that stuff against, could have also done something to have him moved somewhere else as well. Could have had
Oh, I
something to do
believe
with it.
I'm not, I'm
So
not at all convinced. Not in one iota am I convinced that
mhm.
he's dead.
There's a lot of questions about that. So many questions that'll probably never be
Right.
answered for us because we'll never know until he is
Even
found.
Slim is in our chat room just having a fucking fit. Steven, I'll call you when I get off the air, my friend. I'm in the middle of a show right now. And I have to do my show.
Because I think
I
a lot of
can't
people that
he's right and said, call me. I can't call you, Steve. I'm on the air. I'm doing a
because a
show
lot.
right now. But I guess I think
Hmm.
because Pete is our special guest tonight,
Hmm.
I am going to let Pete Wilcox have the last word. So, my friend
Yes,
Peter,
please.
you got the last word on this, my friend.
Well, it's an interesting subject matter in many fields. The question, it seems to me, the question was, is he dead? And the answer is, of course, We have no way of knowing. That's all. That would be inside information. Somebody does know, of course. Um, my takeaway from this is to remind people to look at the evil, the muck that is out there, what you are up against in your life here in this planet as a human. Guard your heart. Stay away from the things you know you should stay away from. The conscience and the voice that speaks to you that says no, listen to it. It will save your life, your soul. The people that we have been looking at all caved in for pleasure and because they thought we can get away with it.
Yeah.
And there is a reality for those of us that walk in a spiritual life. You get away from nothing. Everything will be paid. It's almost like karma. It's the dues will be paid. The blood, the pound of flesh will be taken. Stay away from evil, if for no other reason, just for your own life's sake. There are many other reasons that you and I had the fun of exploring, and we will again. But just look at the unbelievable evil and horror that came on these people
Yep.
because they wouldn't take a moral stance.
Exactly.
Don't trade or give away your soul. That is your divine gift. Take that away.
And that is the final word for tonight. Amelia, tell everybody what we have coming up next week.
We have, of course, the Michael Jackson episode. Is he alive or dead? People still want to know.
We
And
also, by the way, a
Mhm.
special surprise for
Yes.
everybody. We have the woman that'll be on that episode. Her name is Pearl Jr. Pearl literally wrote the book, not just one. She wrote 4 books on Michael and produced seven full feature films on Michael Jackson. She will be with us here next week live. She's going to join us live. And that's going to be an added bonus. She
Absolutely.
literally wrote the book. She is singularly, and I will say this and for everybody to hear, singularly the most knowledgeable person I've ever met on Michael Jackson, his life before, during, and after his death, alleged death. We'll find out. I really don't think he died. There's a lot of people, for some reason, gain a lot
Mhm.
when they die. Some people do it on purpose, but never see a casket. It's amazing. But we're going
And
to have
it's
Pearl
interesting.
Jr. What else we got coming up next week? Who's joining us?
Let's see.
Well, you should know you brought him to us, this country singer.
Oh yes. I can't even think of his name. I
And I
don't like.
don't even like country music.
I know he doesn't like country music. Can you believe
The
it?
closest I get to country music is listening to Pete Wilcox. And he's the only country artist I listen to.
Well, bless your
Really?
heart, our country music is very good country music. It's very honest, very real, very poetic. I
Right.
enjoy it quite a bit.
Aw.
And I enjoy listening to Pete's music.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh.
Pete's got some good stuff. Absolutely.
Boy, am
You
I
gotta
getting
go
the
on
plug
YouTube
tonight.
and listen to his music.
Oh, definitely. I definitely will.
Go on YouTube and type in "Forevermore" by Pete Wilcox.
Okay, definitely. I definitely
Great
will.
song.
Please
Great
do.
song.
Pete Wilcox, 2 L's, ladies and gentlemen. Pete
Yes.
Wilcox.
Awesome. I definitely
America's
will.
TV Elvis, my
Okay.
friend.
Boy, I
That-
sure got my plug tonight. You guys have been delightful.
He
to
knew me when I was famous, for crying out loud.
Yeah, you've been delightful to me tonight. And
Aw.
again, I appreciate the platform. Oh, I got to make a plug. But I appreciate the platform to present my energy and effort in this life. I got a birthday coming up at the end of June. I'm going to be 79. I can't
Yeah.
wait to say I'm 80. I want to say that so
We are going to celebrate that together,
good.
Pete.
Absolutely. Yes.
79, man. It was the
We
last
are
year
going to
before the big
celebrate
one.
the big 80 together.
But
I
Absolutely.
just being able to come around at this time
I
of
will
my life
ask
and
God for longevity.
step away from a life that was really dedicated to personal pleasure and kind of surrendering and saying, Father, what do you have in mind?
Yeah.
That's it. And, oh, but I do, let me make this one plug. You've been so
Go
nice.
for it.
Okay, great. God bless you.
Sure.
I was going to ask you, actually, you and I can have fun with this one, and that is, um, were you a baseball fan of the 50s?
I was not.
Ah, what were
I'm
you up to?
well,
You don't have
that's a
to say.
loaded
You're right.
question.
You're
I
being filmed. You may not want to say
Yeah,
exactly.
no, I'm a fan of certain players from that era.
Okay.
Joe DiMaggio, because I met him. Um, I'm a fan. Of course, if you love baseball, how can you not love Babe Ruth? Hank Aaron, Cal Ripken, Stan Musial,
Okay.
people like that.
That's enough. Stop. I don't, because you're not going to mention my guy. But I'm going to go to the Brooklyn Dodgers with the rock and roll team of the era. And the people were
Okay.
personally involved with every one of the players.
Yeah.
They had a charisma about them. And the number one home run hitter of the 50s was Duke Snyder, my guy. The number
Yeah.
two home run hitter of the 50s was Gil Hodges. And there was a whole controversy because he wasn't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And the story on that was they had the vote, they held a vote. Campanella was in the hospital and he couldn't do an absentee ballot.
Yeah.
And
Roy
Ted Williams
Campanella. Yeah.
voted against it, kept Gil out.
Wow.
This year, Gil has been admitted to the Hall of
Hall of
Fame.
Fame. Yep.
And what's special for me, absolutely, is I wrote a poem 2 years ago called Gil Hodges Belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I put it on Facebook, got some lovely response from Brooklyn people and all that. Actually, what was really special, I heard from his daughter. His
Oh,
daughter
wow.
wrote me and said,
Fabulous.
thank you, that was a lovely, lovely poem. I wrote another poem called Finally, and it talks about Gil Hodges becoming inducted into the Hall of Fame. I read both of them on a podcast Monday night. I heard
Beautiful.
from his daughter again. She said, thank you so much. I said, please give it to your brother and sister. I want them to have it. This Saturday, they are retiring Gil's number at Dodger Stadium.
Right.
He is being inducted in 27th, I think, 24th or 27th of July. You and I should do a thing on this. We'll have to get together, Andrew, because this would be
I am going
fun.
to reach. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to a guy I know from my old life in wrestling. His name is J.J. Dillon. He is a huge,
Mm-hmm.
huge Duke Snyder fan.
Oh my God, we'll have a ball.
In fact, before he got into professional wrestling, J.J. Dillon was a baseball player.
Okay.
He wanted to be a baseball player.
Awesome.
And then he got sucked into this crazy world of wrestling. But what he does for his shoot job, his real job, he is a prison administrator in Delaware.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm going to call his daughter and see if I can get him on the show. When do you want to do this, Pete? Next Monday?
Well, whenever you want to, he's going to be inducted. We'll find out. You and I'll talk, and I'll tell you when he's being inducted, and we might want to do it the week before.
Okay.
We'll find out, you know what I mean?
Is he being inducted in the latter part of June?
July.
Oh,
that's
July.
awesome.
I have the two poems here. I'm going to read them again. And
Well,
after
the
they
reason I'm
retire his
asking-
jersey, I will do it again. I'm going to repost them. I'm going to say every other week until it happens. And
Well,
ask
I'll
all
tell
my
you why.
please share it.
I'll tell you why I'm asking about July. Because my birthday is July 10th.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, if his induction falls anywhere 3 days before or 3 days after my birthday in that week,
Hmm.
let's do it.
Well, it's going to be, I think it's the 24th of July. I will
Because
find out
I
all
want
the
to do
dates,
a
and
special
I'll call you
birthday
and
show.
we'll talk about this and set up the date.
Yeah. Oh God,
You and I can do
absolutely.
it at any time, and because it's repostable,
Oh
we'll have
sure.
fun with that.
We'll
But
have a ball. Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to send you my podcast on that, or my blog. I want
Okay.
you to have it. See, because it
I
was
want
fun.
Amelia to see what happens when me and Pete get together. We said
Okay.
goodbye.
Well, she can tell. We go
20
nuts. We just go off.
I get to sing you happy birthday. Yay.
Yes,
Pete and
absolutely.
I said goodbye 20 minutes ago.
You know
Okay.
that? I get to sing you happy birthday by myself.
That
No,
will
we're
be
going to
wonderful.
have actually Brock Davis on June the 9th. That's who we're going to
June the
have.
9th. Brock
Yes.
Davis. Yes.
Yeah, he's a great
Um,
country singer. Great country
we've
singer.
got Pearl Jr. and Brock Davis.
Hmm.
Pete, we've got a show coming up, and I want you to be a part of this show we've got.
Hmm.
It's called Remember When. That's going to be the name of the show.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, Remember When. I've got some entertainers from the 50s and 60s coming onto the show. And I would love you to be a part of
Well,
that.
listen, I'm a phone call away. You
I'm
know
gonna
that.
have my mom watch
Beautiful.
that show. She loves those. That's her era of
It's
music.
like the doo-wop music.
Oh, that my mom's
Yeah,
gonna have
yeah.
to watch that show.
And my dog is barking because he's like, okay, daddy, it's my time now. So
My
listen,
mom's gonna
for
have to
Pete
watch.
Wilcox, for Amelia Pitbull Chapman, I am Mad Dog DeCipio saying goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time. God bless. Take care.
Goodbye, everyone.